Hi, I'm Lovoni.
And I'm Sarah, and welcome to the Lovoni and Sarah podcast, where we talk all things weight loss and well-being.
If you search online for how to alleviate bloating and a distended gut, you'll likely be inundated with links to videos of doctors and various pharmaceutical companies wanting to sell you probiotics or other products. But before you waste your money, listen to this episode on bloating. We might be able to help you.
Today, Lovoni and I are delving into this very uncomfortable and often embarrassing issue that we've all experienced at one time or another. We cover foods that aggravate bloating, some things that might help, and what we've experienced with bloating. So please join us. But before we delve into today's episode, let's have a very quick catch up. Lovoni, what was your goal? Remind me, how have you been doing?
Mine was to exercise every day. Pretty sure that was it.
Yes, it was.
And yes, and I have.
Oh,
Even
brilliant.
Yeah, every day. Yeah. And I'm going to, today's Thanksgiving, because
Happy
we record this on
Thanksgiving.
a Thursday. Yeah, lots of turkey and stuff. So it's Thanksgiving, here in the US. And I haven't done my workout yet because normally I like to do it first thing in the morning, but we're podcasting. So but I am going to do it. I'll probably do it a little while after lunch and
Okay.
burn that off, but I'm still going to do it today. So I'm determined to do it.
impressed.
What about yours? What was yours?
Mine was to continue with the sort of healthy eating that I was reintroducing back into my diet post-surgery. That's been going really well. I've been cooking some really lovely dishes and just feeling a lot better. I am feeling a little bit tired, but I've been doing so much more with regards to moving, and obviously that in itself is having a knock-on effect with the healing and all that sort of stuff. So I do feel quite tired, but that's good because it means that I've been pushing myself, but within, sensible boundaries, sort of. Tough. But yeah, I have been doing it. I've been bringing some clean food back in, so I feel good.
That's good. You look great. You don't look like somebody that just, had surgery a few weeks ago.
To give people a bit of an update, I guess, on because they've been following on. So I'm week 4 now, and I had physio appointment the day before yesterday, and I've been told that quite incredibly, I'm allowed to walk around at home without using my stick, which is really
fantastic.
That in itself, I can feel the difference. It's quite tricky. It's hard work, but good to get a bit more freedom back and start to build up. And I went to the gym at the weekend, which was
fantastic.
It felt so nice because it felt a little bit of normality and a little taster of where I want to obviously get to and get back to and stuff. So I was there for 15 minutes. I mean, we parked and went in and came straight back out because I had to only do a really short session, but it doesn't matter. I just felt really good for going there.
Yeah,
it actually felt even better for what I was doing. Just the short amount that I did it, it made me feel different. So probably obviously just psychology.
I was just going to say, mentally,
yeah,
great.
But thank you.
Look really
good. Doing well. What else have you been doing apart from the gym? Your workouts?
No, I just do it at home. So I do my normal workout.
Yeah,
and then there's a park I like to go to, so I take Ramsey.
You've been doing like power walking, haven't you?
And do power walking, which is hard with the tail end of this cold because when I go too fast, I get really wheezy from my asthma, and so I've got to stop and use my inhaler. But I'm persisting. So anyway, we'll see. I mean, I feel better for it, especially on those days where I just don't want to. Excuse me, which is easy to do when you're not feeling great. But
can you feel it in your body with regards to sort of?
I feel like you could bounce a coin off my backside, seriously. But then I'm looking and I'm like, nah, still there.
I
look in the mirror. I mean, it'll always be there. I've always had a rounded bottom.
Yeah, me too. That's a good thing. People are getting implants to get that now.
Right. But it just feels firmer, but I'm sure it's not. It just feels like it. Yeah.
I'm sure it must be if you're doing all that work.
Oh yeah, I hope so. Anyway. So I suffer from bloating. This is going to be an absolute TMI, this whole episode, I'm sure. But I know it's a common thing, like a lot of people do. And I find the more in tune I get with my body, and I think I pretty am well in tune with it these days. Sorry. The more I notice what causes it.
Okay.
Bread, definitely.
Okay.
And you know, and it's not crap bread. Crap bread. Yeah. I buy nice bread. If I'm not making that gluten-free bread, that the recipe that I have on my website, that I'm fine with. There's a sourdough bread that I buy because I just, honestly, I've tried to make sourdough starters many times and they work, and then I go to use it and I'm like, no. Anyway, I find it's so bad when I eat it, and I put lots of protein on the sandwich, so it's not like I'm having it with jam or something like that, that I feel it even in my face, and I get it around where I touch around my eyes, because bloating isn't just your stomach.
Yeah.
You and I have talked about how if we had too much sugar or, you know, too much alcohol, I mean, and too much can just be like 3 drinks, how, you know, our hands feel sore and bloated. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not just about the stomach, but that's primarily, I guess, what we're talking about today. But I can feel, like, I can literally feel it happening in my face, not like an anaphylactic thing, because I don't feel it in my throat or anything. But it's obviously, it's doing, I think, something to the glucose in my body for start.
Right.
And I don't know whether it's, you know, and the gluten, I guess. I don't buy cheap bread from the grocery store, so I haven't eaten that in a very long time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But I'm like, okay, buddy, like, you know, it doesn't. And then my stomach just, it gets so hard and so bloated.
Distended,
distended. It's horrible. It's such an uncomfortable feeling. And I've done that a few times in the last week. And I think, woman, you know, so I'm just like, not doing it. I have a little teeny bit of stuffing today, but I'm just going to really avoid
an interesting question for you. So is it the bread, or is it the mixture of the bread with the protein? And the reason I ask that is that I don't suffer with this so badly now, but probably about 20 years ago, I couldn't eat a roast dinner because eating the chicken with the potatoes,
the carbs
it must be, and the wind I would get would be unreal. However, if I ate just one or the other, I was fine.
Right.
Now I don't get that. Now I can eat, you know, unless I have a too bigger roast meal, and then then it's just because of overeating, which obviously we're going to cover all these things in our episode. But I was just going to ask you that, is it the bread? Is it on its own? It does it, or when it's what's with it?
See, gluten is a protein.
Right.
Bread's classified as a carbohydrate.
Yeah.
But gluten itself is a protein. So, but I'm a firm believer in, if you mix a whole lot of things up with your carbs and your protein, you know, that it's a lot for your body to digest.
Yeah.
And there's a diet, and I know this is a little off the track, and I'm not saying that it's the be all and end all, but it's called Fit for Life. And his mantra was not to combine everything. Like, you could eat everything, but just so it was easier for your body, you'd have your meat with like a light, like not a heavy carb veg, so your greens, or you know, some peppers or something like that. And then if you had a potato, maybe have that with a salad. And you know, rather than combining your meat, your potato and beans, which and rice, you know, some cultures do, but I think, I know for me, that's like you were saying, that definitely is a bloat fest for me. And also dairy, like if I have too much cream or too much fat, my stomach gets really bloated and really squelchy, and then it just is like whoosh, just straight through me, like,
let's go.
Just let's go, to the point where the pain in my stomach has been so bad that that I've vomited at the same time, just because from the pain. So I have to watch how much I eat, and then the amount of fat, because that's what will happen. So, and I think there's, you know, that this is something a lot of people have problems with. And I think if people do, because I've said this before, Sarah and I aren't doctors, but go and see your doctor, but go to a specialist. Like, get your doctor to refer you to
someone
a
that's actually going to listen.
Someone that will test you, that will listen, because, you know, it might be a leaky gut, might be IBS, It could be like Crohn's disease. I mean, I don't mean to startle people, but don't just go to a doctor and get some pills for it. Go and see a specialist if it's something that's ongoing. Says me. I haven't been there. I'm just going to self-diagnose.
Do what I say, not what I do.
Not what I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do know, though, what makes it worse.
Yes.
And even things like, you know, I've spoken to friends with kids that, excuse me, where the kids are, like, get really constipated and their stomach gets like that. And I say, are you giving them milk to drink? Because milk can do that. Milk can cause constipation.
Well, this is what my partner struggles with and like suffers with. He doesn't struggle, he suffers with this.
Yeah.
And we have, through a process of elimination, worked out what it you know causes it. Now I say that, and we narrowed it down, and it's most definitely dairy. So if he eats dairy, and this has only happened within the last under 12 months, this has happened, his stomach fully distends like a bowling ball on the front of him.
And I mean, so hard.
I mean, he's not overweight, so it's very noticeable on the front of him. It's rock hard. It's so uncomfortable. Then it's really painful. He has also been sick because it's, you know, just come up because it's been so full or so painful. So we, through that sort of elimination process, found that it was dairy. So now predominantly we eat vegan food. This sounds ridiculous, vegan food that sometimes we add meat to, if that makes sense. You know, because we've cut out all dairy. But that said,
still have the meat protein, because that's important.
But that said, in the last few weeks, not to the same extent with the pain and the, you know, distended stomach, but the gas element he's still really struggling with, and that's sort of started to pick up again. I'm like, right, well then we need to look at this a bit more. And you mentioning IBS, I feel it's probably IBS related, and a bit more along the lines of when we spoke to Greg. Yeah, exactly. So sort of stress, a fallout from that,
because stress can cause that too. A lot of people think that it was just food, but stress can cause it. Also, he might want to do a little research on like the FODMAP. Have you heard of that?
No.
Okay, I can never remember what it stands for. Oligosaccharides. I remember the O one. And there's a diet that he could go on, and a doctor would do this. It could also be like a leaky gut, because when this happens, it damages the lining of your gut, and it could also be a leaky gut. So FODMAP is it's like an elimination diet. And there's foods on there's a green, a yellow, and a red list. And you can just go and get a printout. I can maybe send you a link. I'll put a link to in the
on our description,
on the web, on our website. If people want to just take a look at it. I mean, I'm not trying to diagnose anybody, but my cousin did it, and because he was having all these issues, and it helped. And now he can he has to be careful every now and then, but it helped him a lot. So it stands for fermentable oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, and polyols, which is sugar alcohols. And so what it does, you just eliminate a lot of things from your diet.
And then you see what, then introduce them again, and then see what happens.
You know what else does it for me too is sugar. But too much salt, sugar, and I know he doesn't have a lot of salt.
No, because he can't have that with all the other medical situations he's got.
So, but salt and sugar can also make it worse. Not enough fiber, but I know that you guys eat quite a bit of fiber. Too much fat. But even things like for somebody that is trying to be healthier and suddenly decides to have oats for breakfast, you know, legumes for dinner or whatever, that can be a lot for your body to take on too,
at that moment,
if you're not used to it. And cabbage, of course, any of the crucifer vegetables could also do it. So, you know, arugula rocket, as the rest of the world calls it, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, broccoli, all of those. I'm not suggesting anybody eliminate those, but just be aware that they can also cause it. But I think,
but if you're having them, then maybe just start to introduce them in a, you know, a smaller amount until your body becomes regulated and gets used to it.
And sometimes a cooked version of something versus a raw version of something can be worse too. I don't know. Okay. But definitely for me, I know it's gluten and high fat and sugar, definitely.
I think for me, it's also fluid retention, but because I haven't drunk enough water. So I know that my body bloats really badly and I haven't drunk enough water. So it's basically trying to hold on to the bare minimum of what I've put in there, I think. And then a lack of fluid is creating fluid retention, and then I swell. So for me, that's definitely something that I then become aware of, particularly if I'm in a hot country. It's a bit like, I suppose, anyone, if you've been for a long walk and then you lift your hands up, they're like fat sausages on the bottom of you because you're dehydrated, you've had them dangling down. So it's definitely something else. And I think that's also, it's quite interesting on how bodies react to that, isn't it? Because sometimes you may not go to the toilet all day, you haven't, or, you know, for a very minimum amount of going for a wee, and then nighttime comes and it hits and you're like in the toilet all night because
you've got your legs up
and everything's relaxing and all that sort of stuff. So I think that's what's, and I'm regularly saying, have you drunk enough water today? And the response is like, not sure I've had any, actually. I'm like, you know, but he drink, you know. And then we had the conversation only last night, that when I was doing the research the other day for this, I was like, I hate to break this to you, but coffee can be a bloater for some people as well. Now, a small amount of coffee is good, but as soon as you tip over the edge, he doesn't have fabulous sleep either. So I'm saying, I think maybe being careful when you have your last coffee of the day is going to have to be something to consider. But yeah, coffee was one of the things that I was reading about, can really, for some people, instigate bloating as well.
Same with like diets. So like some diets,
carbonated drinks,
carbonated drinks can create the distension. So can and I learned this the hard way, like sugar-free gum.
Me too. I've done
Werther's, like those Werther's toffees that I love. But I tried the sugar-free version and I'm so greedy, which is why I can't eat these things. And I had them on my desk while I was working, and I ate, it was, granted, it was a small packet, but I ate the whole thing. 20 minutes later, never again. I've got a
story for you about that.
Oh God.
23 years ago, I got really, really, really poorly, and I was in hospital for a long time. And I was lying there in the bed, and there was a lady next to me who was really unwell with, basically, the only way to describe it is extensive diarrhea. Okay, like, and lying next to someone that often, you're like, yeah, okay, I can tell that there's something not all right here. And then every day her daughter would come to visit, which was fantastic. And every day her daughter would bring her one of those family size packets of sweets. They looked like Werther's, but they weren't. They were red and white, like strawberry and cream candy looking color things, sugar free. Okay, and she ate a whole family packet every day, and her daughter would bring her a new one every day. And it was only after me being there for quite a number of days thinking, I wonder if anybody knows this, because that is not going to be good for her stomach. Everybody knows if you eat sugar-free sweets, they give you diarrhea if you eat too many of them. So I just really quietly,
everybody does now.
I quietly mentioned it to the nurse and said, I just don't know if you realise, but she's eating a whole packet of them she was quite elderly, the lady. She said, no, I had absolutely no idea. I said, well, you might want to have a little look at it. And then sat there really quiet thinking, I feel bad, I've just dobbed her in.
Right. But still.
They got to the bottom of it. You never went, she went home 3 days later. And they said she'd been doing that for absolutely blooming months. She'd been eating a whole pack of these every day. And that's what it was.
She's thinking, because you think, there's no sugar in them.
Sugar-free, it was fine.
No. So bad.
Do not, if you didn't know, don't overeat on the sugar-free sweets, because we've all been there in one way or another.
Right. And it's the same with the sugar-free drinks, the same sort of thing. They could do it too. But like the carbonation can do that as well. It's a horrible feeling. And I find like it comes on for me in the afternoons. And this last week I've been bad, and I think it's because I haven't made my because I like sandwich.
Yes.
I haven't made my gluten-free bread just because, well, I guess I could have made time, but because it doesn't take very long. So I bought this sourdough bread to make our stuffing with. And so I thought, well, that's there because I had enough to have sandwiches as well. That's there. I'll just have that. So I think that's been the culprit.
Does it bring on constipation as well when you get bloated like that?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. No, because it just makes no, it gives me gas.
Yeah.
Not immediately. That's
okay. This is going to be way TMI as well, but
I know, but we are talking
now we're
about
in it,
that
so let's
subject.
get into
we're
it.
in it. Yeah.
Is it foul smelling, or is it just wind?
No, it's just gas.
Okay, because I think that's the difference.
Bad.
I think the difference between the intolerance when when someone's really, really not able to eat something and it causes it, I think then that also makes it really foul smelling too. And I think that's also your body saying, this is not okay for me at all. But I was just interested whether it is just gas or whether it's like.
Has he been checked out?
Oh,
has he been to a specialist?
This is a male that we're talking about.
Okay. Well, because it could be a leaky gut, which can be dangerous because
it could be so many things.
He needs to go and get it checked out, not just to his doctor, like I said, but to a specialist that deals with that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Because the foul smell means there's another problem there.
It's not always, and I'm not trying to paint this picture of him being like this, but it's just sometimes if it's God, like, who is this person? Bless him.
Hopefully he doesn't listen to this episode.
But when he's having a really bad time of it, with this really, really distended gut, feeling painful, like not just a case of uncomfortable, it's painful.
Miserable.
And
so
then
miserable.
It then can be like that too. So much for like, what on earth is going on with your gut? This is not okay. That's very different to what I'd class as a standard windy, bloaty sort of day. But even so, both of them are still the same sort of kind of output, just to a different extent, isn't it? So different foods can do different things. But
so you do eat lots of legumes too, don't you?
Yeah, we do.
So that would be something that he could probably ease off on, instead of having those, have like some fish, some salmon.
Yeah,
honestly, just tell him to just don't eat those for a while and see.
I mean, we do still have that too, but we always have them. We have the chickpeas or the broad.
Go for a week with not eating them,
having that
and having because I mean, if you're having like some good protein, some salmon or something like that, and then
don't need the extra,
and then some veggies, you'd be fine.
Yeah,
but because I'm sure that's contributing to it. So like, I'm not trying to diagnose him, but just don't have them for a week and see if he's any better. And obviously he knows the dairy thing.
Oh, that's for sure. You have to stay clear.
And then be careful of the wheat too, if he can maybe stay away from gluten.
Lovoni, what am I going to eat?
I know,
sorry. Shush.
Make him some of that bread, or he can make some of that bread.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But I saw someone last week and they'd had a smoky bean soup. And it caught them by surprise, because the wind that suddenly was erupting, they went, oh, I wasn't expecting it to be that bad. I was like, what?
That's hilarious.
Even for someone that doesn't struggle with it as a standard, it can catch you unawares if it's something different from what you'd normally be eating, isn't it? So I think it happens to everyone at the best of times.
I have a friend, a Canadian friend, and she struggles with this, but she's like a pasta lover. She eats pasta, I think, every day.
That does make me windy, actually.
And I say to her, I have said to her, and she'll be like, oh my God, she has to fart constantly, and she reckons it smells. And I'm like, just ease off the pasta. Don't eat it for a while, because she's really picky eater, but pasta is something that she likes, and she doesn't eat a lot of meat. So, and I'm sure that's what's doing it for her, is all the all the gluten that she's having.
Yeah, it does for me, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you've got this situation where you are bloated, some remedies for it, some ways to try and help, as well as avoiding the food. But okay, heat pad.
Yeah, like if it's, and you know, there's like some different over-the-counter medications you can take to alleviate it, but you don't want to become reliant on those.
And actually, I mean, you can avoid medication, twice, exactly.
Exactly. But for me, I need the heat on it. So I go get like a hot water bottle or a heat pad and put it on my stomach. That just, the pain's still there, but it just makes it feel better. You know, just like when you had a period pain and that it's still, you still had it. Yeah. But it, you know, made it feel better. So that's a big thing for me.
I think exercise, movement, that can help it shift.
It can. It's probably the last thing people feel like
want to do. But you know what I used to do when my son was a baby? He'd be lying on the floor, and then you get their legs and you kind of push their legs towards them like a frog, and then in and out, like you pump them.
Yeah. You're like, and you're downwind.
And you're going to do it.
You're upwind. Yeah.
But it really worked, because obviously babies get trapped gas all the time. And all of a sudden there's be like this big eruption. You're like, oh, there you go. That's going to feel a lot better.
Right.
So if you can try and replicate that as an adult in whatever version you want to do, that's something that definitely helps.
I know holding the gas in makes it so much worse.
My son says that to me because he breaks wind, and I'm like, do you have to do that? I said, it makes me ill if I hold it in. I was like, does it really?
Yeah. No. When my stomach gets like that, if I have to hold it in, that's not good. You know, if I'm out somewhere, you just want to be by yourself, really.
Go and get it all sorted out.
Yeah, get it sorted. But that's what does it for me.
Another way to try and avoid, as well as the foods that we've been talking about, is trying to eat regularly. So I think for me, if I've gone for too long without eating, like a really empty tummy, and then I have something to eat, particularly a bigger meal,
that's overeating when can do it. Yeah.
So if I've not eaten regularly, so I've gone for a really long time without eating, so I'm completely empty, and then I eat maybe too much compared to being empty, within a matter of, you know, really minutes. Exactly. I've got quite bad gas. So I think if you are someone that is prone to this, so you struggle with it, as well as obviously the medical checks that we've talked about, and then the sort of the elimination process of trying to work out potentially what's triggering this more than others for you, because every person's body is different in the way it reacts. But a couple of little tools, if you like, of trying to avoid it. So definitely moving if you've got the gas, but eating regularly, smaller portions, and eating regularly is something that's worth trying.
Yes. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah.
Rather than an empty tummy and then a meal, because I think the gas compresses in your stomach and then you get it trapped, and that's really bad. And then I think in that sort of same vein is then to eat slower as well. So I was reading about someone that uses a smaller spoon to eat their food, so that they eat a lot slower, because I am a really fast eater, like ridiculously fast, and I think gulping it down, if you're someone
gulping air too at the same time.
So eat slower and a smaller mouthfuls, smaller meals, and then more frequently would be something that's worth considering to give it a try if you're struggling with it.
Yeah. But definitely, if somebody has had this more than 3 times in a row, there's an issue and they need to go and see somebody about it, not just be chewing on various antacid pills
all the time,
because they create other problems in your body. So definitely. And then stay away from, maybe if you have got it, just the things that we talked about, lactose, so milk, cream, dairy. Some hard cheeses aren't quite so bad. Plus there's like sheep's, if you like love cheese and want a bit just on veggies or whatever, sheep's cheese, like a hard sheep's cheese, like pecorino, do something like that. Maybe manchego, that's another one. And then some just ease off on the legumes. And I love them, like I love lentils and chickpeas and things like that, and those don't affect me too much, but then I don't eat them every single day.
No.
Like every day. So, and I don't
see, I have them a lot, but the things that used to really, really disagree with me were baked beans, you know, the traditional baked beans that we have here in
on
the UK.
toast.
Yeah. But oh my God, I could never eat them, because within half a day I'm like, oh no, here it comes, and I'd be so windy, you couldn't be out. I mean, it would be that bad. So yeah,
having
definitely.
said that, hummus does do that to me.
It?
Yeah, because I chop up veggies and have some hummus, and I don't have much because it's it is quite high in calories, and yeah, by the afternoon I'm like, whew, windy city. Yeah,
I think I must be quite lucky, really. But
sorry, that bloated stomach. Oh gosh, that's just
I know the things for me is my way around it to try and avoid it is drinking plenty of water. Eating 3 meals a day, so that I haven't then left a really big gap, got over hungry, eaten too big a meal. And so to try and regulate the portion sizes, to eat sort of 3 smaller meals a day. Movement, definitely. So if you're then feeling a bit like going for a walk or something, and less sugar, that's the thing.
Sugar is, I can feel it all over me when I do that, and like stay away from the sugar-free stuff.
And as we've just said, that's not good for you.
But you were saying about, we were talking about the overeating stuff. I ate usually I'm really good with Asian food. I don't get any symptoms, but I was at a Thai restaurant. This is in Canada, when I lived in Canada, and where it was to where I lived was about an hour and a half away, because we lived way out on a lake out in the middle of nowhere. And we're in downtown Edmonton, my ex-partner and I, and we had this amazing Thai food. It was so good. And I was starving, and I ate so much of it. And on the way home, well, luckily we were still in city limits. He had to stop, and I had to go into a grocery store. I was in there for 40 minutes. It was like anything I had ever eaten in my entire life came out of me. That's how it felt. I was in agony. And it was only because I'd eaten so much, because all that I'd eaten, I'd had before. I just had a lot. So anyway.
Do you know what? I've had that before, but with when you're wearing clothes that are too tight. So I can clearly remember I had a pair of white jeans on, and as I went out thinking they're a bit snug, but I'll be okay. So off I went, and I went for a Chinese meal actually, and I was so unwell, and it's because it was too tight to start with. And then you put a load of food in, and your body wants to expand, but there's nowhere for you to expand into. And it basically just disagrees with you. So I think don't wear clothes that are too tight if you know you're going to have a bigger meal. And I was going to say that, I think the other thing is, I think you've got to have a realistic expectation. So there's bloating, like we talk about, which is the uncomfortable and actually an unwell reaction within your body. But if you're talking about some natural bloat, you're going to be a bigger size at the end of the day than you were at the beginning. I think people have also got to have some realistic expectations. My son is now very slim and very fit, but even he goes, look what happens when I eat, look at my stomach, and he pushes it out a bit. But and I'm like, because you've put food inside there, you're gonna have a little bit of bloating around your stomach area when you've eaten. So I think you've got to be kind to your body. You're gonna bloat a tiny bit when you've started eating and stuff. So I think you can't think that you're just going to get away with absolutely nothing. You're going to be a bit more bloated at the end of the day than you were at the beginning.
But it's not bloated, different. Uncomfortable feeling.
That's very different. It's what I was going to say.
It's not looking at yourself in the mirror thinking, oh, it looked a bit smaller this morning. Or not quite as big.
This is like, this is a reaction that we're talking about. Exactly.
You know it. Oh, horrible. So horrible.
There you go. So there's some tips for people. Stay away from the foods, drink water, move, smaller meals,
talk to a doctor.
Go and see a specialist.
So are you back cooking? That's what I want to know. What's cooking in your cozy kitchen? Sarah's got a really nice
Miss
kitchen.
Walker,
she lives in a gorgeous place. What have you made?
You're going to be very proud of me.
Oh yes.
Guess what I made last night? I made your country pork, the French country pork.
Oh, you did, with the prunes and apples.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't it yummy?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Now,
it's so
the beautiful thing was dairy free, because there wasn't any dairy. So did you put butter? I used oil instead of butter. I think there was. I think
there's butter in part of it. Yeah, with the
so
apples,
I just swapped some oil instead of butter.
Yeah.
So it made it dairy free, and all three of us had it. I made it with a really creamy mash. Again, dairy free.
Right.
Oh my gosh!
Excuse me. What you put in your mash, like vegan butter or something?
Vegan butter.
Okay.
Yeah, vegan butter. And actually, you know, sometimes you make a good one compared to last night's. It went very well, my mash. I was like, all three of us loved it.
Oh, good. Oh, well done.
So if anyone is listening, go and take a look at.
I'll share it on
that
our
recipe
website, actually, because it's easy and it's delicious.
Really delicious.
And especially if you use the pork tenderloin. Very good.
So that was good. So I've done that, and I've also done a recipe from we can share this account as well. It's called Soph's Plant Kitchen. That's her Instagram account. And I did a roasted cauliflower and red pepper dish. So you roast the peppers and then you blend all of that to make a sauce, and then you roast the cauliflower.
I adapted love those sauces. Like a remoulade, I think they're called.
Yeah. Oh, it was.
Did it have almonds in it?
Potentially, I can't remember. It was quite. I might have swapped some things in for what I had in the cupboards, but she toasted some peas, but I had to swap it for green lentils instead because I didn't have those peas. But and then you crumble like feta on the top, and it's really, really nice. So we can share that as well. So those are my two things: the French country pork with apples and prunes, courtesy of Lovoni Walker, and I did the roasted cauliflower and red pepper from Soph's Plant Kitchen. So I think I've done quite well this week.
Very
pushing the boundaries.
I made a spicy Korean chicken with coconut rice and some broccolini. It was so good. I wrote down what I did, so I'm going to make it again and put it on the website. It was so easy and just, oh my God, delicious.
Sounds good.
What are your goals for next? I've been Thanksgiving. It's all about Thanksgiving because, you know, what are your goals? What's your goal just quickly for this coming week?
I'm going to get 2 lots of exercise at the gym in for this week.
Well done.
And really working. So it's all about rehab for me at the moment. You know, it's about food, rehab, trying to get my progress really moving forward. So that's all of my goals. What about you?
Mine is to not eat the foods that I know trigger my bloating.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's my goal.
That's a sensible.
Join us next week for episode 45, Embracing the Holidays. We're chatting about traversing the holidays, what we're looking forward to eating and cooking, and how we're going to approach the most calorific time of year, styling it to our goals and lifestyle changes. We're also going to chat about how perspective and attitude can save you during the season. As always, thank you so much for listening. Visit our website, lovoniandsarah.com, for more on each episode and some delicious recipes. Find links in the notes below to things that we've talked about today, or to connect with us on social media. We're now on YouTube, so you can watch us as well as listen to us. Thanks. Bye for now.
Bye.